vegan loaded cinnamon oatmeal cookies. Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner?
I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody. Yay! Oh, gosh. Am I on?
Yeah. Camera, lights, action.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. And as always, if you need to reach me, you know the deal by now. Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner at gmail.com. If you can't reach me for some reason, try Victor Gouveia at whoseblindlifeisit at gmail.com. So, today we're making cookies. And we're making vegan loaded cinnamon oatmeal cookies. So it's been a while since we made cookies. If you guys remember, a while back we made the garbage cookies and they were fantastic. Well, this is a similar recipe except that it's vegan. Of course, if you're not vegan or you're not fasting and you don't want to do vegan, I will give you the substitutions. So let's get right to it. We're going to use, obviously, 2 parts of the house again, just like we did. If you remember way back when we did the garbage cookies, we used the kitchen and the dining room table, which is what we're going to do again today. So it's just easier that way for the mixer. I don't have a headset yet, which I could probably use a headset so you guys can hear me over the mixer. But, that's okay. We have the option to move around in the house, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so on to our recipe. I hope I remember all the ingredients. So we have, in this part of the house, the kitchen, I've measured out here 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. Here we have 1/2 cup of white sugar. Here, as you can see, the mold from the cup that I measured, 1 cup firmly packed brown sugar. And you can see the shape of the cup as I packed it. Then we have 1/2 cup of applesauce. And we have butter. Now, we said this is vegan. This is called the brand. I'm not sure if I'm this way.
Yep.
So this brand is called Melt. And you can get it, I get it at Whole Foods. I'm sure you can get it at any specialty market. Works like butter, tastes like butter, acts like butter. So this is exactly just the same as a package of butter sticks. So there's 4 sticks in here. It's 453 or 456 grams of butter sticks, but they're vegan. The brand is Melt, and it's just like measuring butter. 1 stick is 1/2 cup of butter. 2 sticks is 1 cup of butter. Today we're using 1 cup of butter. So now the applesauce, before I get to the rest of the ingredients, 1/2 cup of applesauce is very little for all these ingredients. You're not going to taste it. But don't leave it out because that's your binder, because we're not using eggs. If you're not vegan, you go ahead and you use 2 sticks of unsalted butter and 2 eggs. But because this is a vegan recipe, we're using 2 sticks of Melt butter alternative and 1/2 cup of applesauce. And if you're using the eggs and the butter, you don't have to use baking powder. We're using applesauce and butter alternative, so we're also using baking powder. So before I get to the rest of the ingredients, let's start the mixer so that we can, while that's beating. So the recipe works exactly like making non-vegan cookies. We need to beat the butter alternative with the sugars. So I have my stand mixer standing by. My oven is preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually, while we were talking, I heard the beeping. So the 350 is, it's ready. It's preheated. And I've already got my, behind me here, I've got my baking sheets already ready with parchment paper, ready to go. Okay, so I've pulled out 2 sticks of the butter alternative, which we said the brand is Melt. So I'm just gonna go over to my stand mixer. I've got the stand mixer open. We're gonna use the paddle attachment. And I'm just gonna toss these sticks of fake butter, butter alternative, right into the bowl. So in goes 1. What I have noticed about these is they soften much quicker than regular butter. So there's a difference that I've seen. But it'll do what we want. So I'm just opening up the next stick of butter. And don't say to me, what do you mean butter? Yes, butter alternative, but it's still butter. Well, like I said, fake butter, but anyways. Okay, so, and in the butter, toss in your half a cup of white sugar. Toss in your 1 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. And for those who can see, I can actually pick it up because I've molded it right into the cup. So it's really firmly packed. So that goes in. And the only thing we have left for our wet ingredients is our half cup of applesauce and our 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla. But that's not going to go in yet. So close the mixer. Start the mixer on low so the sugar doesn't fly all over the place. Okay, while that's happening, grabbing the timer, and I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going to turn up the mixer, press start on the timer, and move to the dining room table. All right, let's go. So now, if you're not ready in 5 minutes, it doesn't really matter if you beat your mixture for 7, as long as it's nice and creamy and fluffy. So, the rest of our ingredients goes as follows. I've got right here where I'm pointing 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, which is 180 grams. I've got, we're gonna use half a teaspoon of baking powder, and as I said before, if you're using eggs, omit the applesauce and baking powder. Half a teaspoon of sea salt. We've got 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And over here, I've got 1 cup of dairy-free semi-sweet chocolate chips. These are vegan. I've got 1 cup of chopped up walnuts. No mutts in this recipe. Walnuts. And I actually bought these already chopped up. I bought a pre-packaged pack of chopped walnuts. And we've got 1 cup of golden raisins. You can use cranberries or whatever raisin you like. And we've got 3 cups of quick cooking oats. That's our ingredients for all our cookies. So, right off the bat, into my flour, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, that goes right into our flour. Baking soda, done. We need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now we like cinnamon, so I'm going to pack this. Okay. In that goes. Now we got half a teaspoon, pardon me, of baking powder. Okay, in that goes. Okay. And we've got, of course, half a teaspoon of sea salt. And we're done with that. Okay. Okay, and you can give this a mix if you like. Just mix up the flour with the baking soda, the salt, the cinnamon, and the baking powder, baking soda, salt, and cinnamon. Okay, now, in a big bowl, toss your 3 cups of quick cooking oats. In that mixture, in the big bowl with the oats, toss in your flour mixture. And you can use your hands to make sure everything's done. And mix this all up. Oats, flour, cinnamon, baking soda, baking powder, salt. Just mix it all up. Okay. In another bowl, add your chocolate chips, your walnuts, and your raisins. Now, I'm not going to add in my raisins, and there's a reason why. I'm going to mix this up, and our timer's already up to 5 minutes, but it's okay. It doesn't matter if it beats for 1 more minute or 2, it doesn't matter. The reason I'm not mixing the raisins into the chocolate chip walnut mixture is because I have a big kid in my family, and most of you should know what a big kid is. It's a husband who hates raisins. So he asked me if I could do a quarter of the batter without raisins. So normally you'd mix the raisins in here, but I'm not going to because I need to separate the dough, and we'll get to that when the time comes. So we're going to move back to the kitchen now because we need to add our the next ingredients into our sugar butter mixture. So I turn the mixer down to low and I find the opening, and I have my bowl with my pre-measured 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and I'm going to tip it in. So our vanilla is in. And the only thing we have left now is the applesauce. And you can do it right over the opening, or you can stop the mixer, it's up to you. Please don't leave the applesauce out if you're doing vegan. This is your binder. This is what's going to bind your cookies and sort of do the job that the eggs are supposed to do. Okay, that's in. So all our wet ingredients are in, and we're going to give it a little bit of a mix. So I'm going to turn up the mixer to high. Okay, I've turned it down back to low, and you're gonna wait right here while I go get the flour mixture. Okay, I'm gonna stop the mixer, open up, and I'm going to toss in, remember we have in here our 1.5 cup of, I'm just tipping the bowl over, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 cups of quick cooking oats, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of baking powder. So I've added that in, and close the mixer again, and on low I'm gonna start mixing again. And I have a habit, while I'm mixing, my other hand can be wiping up my counter. Save some time. Multitasking. We're forgetful, but we can still multitask, thank God. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up now. Give it a good mix, thorough mix. And I'm stopping the mixer. So, now, because I have, and I'm sorry, I'm turning my back to you because I'm getting another bowl out. We said we have a picky eater in the house, and you might have a kid who doesn't like raisins. So I need to separate this dough because I need to give my husband cookies without raisins. So I'm going to, open up the mixer. Let's unplug it so we don't have an accident. I see by accident I just actually turned on the mixer, and that's not good. So I'm going to remove the paddle attachment, and I'm going to get whatever's off it as usual. And for those of you that are blind, I'm just using my finger to push it off, and I'm feeling oats with a lot of sticky butter. But think about this. This is brown sugar and cinnamon and oats and just a lot of nice stuff like chocolate chips, raisins, walnuts. And of course, if you don't like walnuts, use another nut. Okay, good enough. So I'm going to turn on the scale.
Hello. It's ready.
And right into my bowl, I'm going to tip my dough. And I'm going to have to help it with my hands. And it's all going to, I'm just pushing the dough out of the mixing bowl, the cookie dough,
758 grams.
right into another mixing bowl that's on my scale. And you don't have to do this unless you have a picky eater in your house.
988 grams. grams.
Okay.
1,067 grams.
We're almost there. Be patient with me.
1,078 grams.
And for those of you who are saying, oh, did she have to show us this step? And maybe you're bored. My husband's name is Foti. Anybody who hasn't... Okay, quiet. Anybody who hasn't caught my husband's name in the past from previous episodes,
1,094 grams.
his name is Foti, and you spell it F as in Frank, O, T as in Tom, I. So blame Foti. This is Foti's fault.
1,097 grams.
I'm sure he's laughing right now when he's watching. Okay. I think we're
1,101 grams.
yeah, okay, we're good enough. 1,100 grams. So, what does that mean now? That means that I need to remove
1,102 grams.
yeah, okay. I need to remove a quarter of the batter. So what does a quarter mean? You divide your number by 4. If I divide
1,101 grams.
1,100 grams by 4, we get, I was going to say 225, but I'm wrong.
102 grams.
2, 4, 6, 8, 50.
1,110 grams.
Yeah, okay, quiet. So 275 grams.
3 grams.
So I need to remove 275 grams. And there's 2 ways of doing that. One, I just do the subtraction, or I get the bowl off, put the other bowl on,
41 grams.
say goodbye,
Bye.
say hello,
Hello.
wait till she says it's ready. Whoops.
It's ready.
Okay. Now I'm going to scoop 275 grams into this bowl.
47 grams. 94 grams. 155 grams.
We're almost there, guys. Be patient with me.
205 grams. 272 grams.
Okay. 272. That's good enough. Well, here.
279 grams.
Okay, 280. That's good enough. Okay.
285 grams.
So what I'm going to do now,
288 grams.
I was a little quick. I should have added my chocolate chips and my walnuts in and then measured out my batter, but I didn't, so hold on. Because if I had measured the chocolate chips and the walnuts into the whole batter, then it would have been easier. But that's okay. There's always a way. This is my 1 cup of raisins, which actually I'm using 3/4 cup because I removed a quarter of the batter. So I'm going to add that into my cookie dough. All the raisins in. And let's give it a stir and mix in all our raisins. And we don't need the scale on anymore, so let's turn that off. Okay, now, yeah, I'm going to do it by handfuls now. So we need 1 handful of chocolate chips and walnuts, 2 handfuls. I could have done it the easier way, but I forgot. So these things happen. 3. Now I'm going to put 1 into Forti's batter. Now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to do a handful again for Forti. Whoops, I'm sorry. And a few more here. And here. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, mix up chocolate chips, walnuts, raisins, cookie dough. And I don't think I have to go over the ingredients again. They're in the description box, but I've mentioned them so many times. 1 cup butter, which is our butter alternative by Melt. 1 cup of brown sugar, really packed. 1/2 a cup of white sugar, 1/2 a cup of applesauce, 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3 cups of quick cooking oats, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, or more if you like, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of sea salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of golden raisins, 1 cup of chopped walnuts or nuts of your liking, and 1 cup of dairy-free semi-sweet chocolate chips. That's all our ingredients. Ha! I did well today. My mind is actually working today. This is great. So this is a nice sticky dough. Our oven is preheated. All we got to do now is mix this up and scoop it onto our baking sheets. We're going to bake for 12 to 15 minutes. I think 12 minutes will probably be just fine. I guess it depends on your oven. I'm going to use middle rack because I find that my baked items come out the best on my middle rack. So I'm going to bake in the middle of the oven. Okay, let's go over. Oh. And just like I showed you before, follow me. Here's my baking sheet. It's got parchment paper on it, and I have my cookie scoop. These cookies need to be about 1 inch apart. So I've scooped into my cookie scoop. I'm pressing down, and I'm gonna release right onto the parchment paper. And there you go. So that's my cookie. Now, my thought is press down a little bit lightly. Okay? That's how you're gonna do all your cookies, probably about 12 on a baking sheet. So I'm gonna finish scooping and we'll come back and I'll show you the final result. See you in a bit. Gotta scoop now. Okay guys, we're back. So, I'm here to learn with you guys and you're here to learn with me. So, remember I shaped the cookies and I flattened them a little bit. This is the end result. They're very thin cookies. And you have to leave them on your baking sheet for at least 10 minutes before you even try to move them. Otherwise they will fall apart. So I decided that I don't want my cookies that thin. So the next batch that went in, I put them in as what I'm holding in my hands. So I, excuse me, I didn't flatten them at all. I scooped them in the cookie scoop. I released the ball of dough onto the baking sheet. I spaced them out properly because they will spread. So I'm going to put these in so I don't hold them in my hand. Give me a second because this is my last batch going in. And yes, it's my husband's batch, the one that doesn't have the raisins in it. The whole house smells like cinnamon. And we've already had a taste. They're fantastic. And I'm just going to set my timer for my last batch. Okay. This is the batch right here that I have on the stovetop that I put in without pressing down on the balls of dough. And they're thicker cookies. They're thicker cookies. They're exactly to my liking. If you don't mind a thinner cookie, by all means, go ahead and press them a little bit. But they do spread. And a couple of mine did stick together. So make sure, like the way I figure it out, is each ball of dough should be at least 3 fingers apart. 3 of your fingers apart so that when they spread, they don't stick together. That's it. Very easy recipe. Delicious, fantastic. You cannot tell they're vegan. They're just as good as the garbage cookies we made way back when. But these vegan loaded cinnamon oatmeal cookies are fantastic. And again, I told you the swap outs. 2 eggs for the applesauce, half a cup of applesauce and half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 cup of regular butter for the vegan alternative butter sticks, which is the melt. So if you want to make them non-vegan, by all means go ahead. They're just as good. Kids will never know, which is a good thing. So if you feel like just getting away from that lifestyle, or you are fasting, maybe you have little kids and you're trying to teach them to fast. Well, when they're very young, it's hard to do. You have to do it gradually. So this is a way of telling them, look, this is a fasting cookie. And they will like it just as much as the regular cookie. And they'll say, oh, they'll grow up thinking fasting's not that hard. And when they get to the age where they can fast, they won't find it so difficult. Or they won't, whatever. So that's it for our episode today. I hope you guys really, really enjoyed this episode. I love you guys as always. Please like and share, pardon me. Please like and share this video and subscribe to our channels. Our meaning my channel, Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner, or Victor's channel, whose blind life is it anyway. Until the next episode, a blind kiss to all of you. See ya! I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.